Hey everyone, my name is David Brook, and if you're thinking about buying a home or selling a home in 2024, this is the video that you want to watch. I'm going to tell you all about the things that you need to know, things to avoid, and where to get in. All right, so let's get started. The first thing is we want to talk about, is this market going to be a market like last year? If you're anything like me, you've been in the real estate industry, you know that last year was abysmal when it came to real estate. Why? Because we've been on this entire just like spree of selling homes over the last 3 to 5 years. And there's a whole ton of reasons for that, guys. We don't need to get into every single one of them, but we'll go over a few of them. The first reason is that so many people got into the real estate space to buy a house because they were either getting out of this working environment where they were in cities and they were in metropolitan areas and they needed to go to these suburbs. And so all of a sudden we saw all these people jump in who wanted to buy homes in the suburbs and wanted to get out of this COVID era. And so all of a sudden that happened. But then when that cooled, the work from home era began to pick up as even businesses were saying, all right, continue to work from home and we're going to have you work there. Well, if you've got a family of two or three or four and you just need more space and it's too much for a 2-bedroom apartment or something on the rental side, then what you'd say for yourself is, okay, let's go buy a house and we're going to need to have a couple extra rooms for offices. All right, so that happened. But then when that was all done, we started to see homes still in 2021, 2022, and into last year still picking up. And why was that? Well, I want to show you the reasons as to what was going on in the industry. So stay tuned. This is a market update that you're not going to want to miss. All right, so here's the last several years of real estate prices in the state of Connecticut. And you can look at this. My name is David Brook. If you do not know that I run Brook Team at EXP. Brook Team is a New England team, so we service Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and other areas as well. So as you can see, this is just Connecticut. Here's the median sale prices over the last since 2020. And they've increased in our areas from roughly $250,000 all the way up to $360,000. So it's been a dramatic increase over the last few years. And people ask, okay, well, if something goes up, must it also come down? So let's look over the last, decade, 20 years even. And we can see that prices did escalate in 2003. They were at 195,000. They escalated all the way up to around 275,000. Then we had this crash of all of these people who shouldn't have been buying houses, who were then buying houses, and then that cooled. And I'm going to show you really quickly why this time is not like that time, but you'll see that there's basically around 10 to 15 years of just like slow appreciation, if anything. And then we get into that COVID era, and then all of a sudden into the work from home. And then we get into the massive millennia buying era that is still going on. And I'm going to tell you, if you're going to buy a house in 2024, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Or if you're planning on selling, did you miss the market or not? Listen up. Do not go away from this. Okay. So what was the difference in between 08 and 2020, 2021 and 23? Well, a lot of things. The biggest thing that you want to focus on, besides, yes, there's a whole credit crisis and everything else, is the amount of homes for sale. Look at this, guys. Here's the amount of homes that were going on in 2007 and 2008 and 2009 in the state of Connecticut. There were over 30,000 homes for sale. So if you're looking to buy a house right now, and you've probably picked up your phone just like I do, like anyone else does, you hop onto a real estate portal like brookgrouprealestate.com and you go searching for homes, you can see there's not so much. Look at it. There's only about 6,000 homes for sale right now in the state of Connecticut. And so if you saw if you were looking for a home in 2008, you could swipe for days. I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to go look for another house. I want to find another. Don't worry. There's going to be more houses coming on in the next day. Well, now you don't have that. And because of it, you've got this massive demand that's actually like jam-packed a ton of buyers into the market. And that's why sale prices have continued to rise. Well, all of a sudden last year, if you kind of look back, we can look at the rolling 12 months. We can see that, yes, it continued, but last year we had a real big cool that ended up happening and then a big spike as well. What ended up happening? Well, we're dealing with inflation, and inflation can only be combated by the rising of interest rates. And so the government set out on a mission in order to stop it. Why? Because it was super easy to borrow money in all of these years. These are the COVID years. And what was happening was the government, through quantitative easing, I know I'm using these like just layman's terms, government was making interest rates low. Okay. And you could get interest rates in the 2s and the 3s, and everyone's bragging because they got that. And realtors warned them, hey guys, this isn't going to be forever. The mortgage brokers that were out there was like, don't like, dude, make it happen now because these prices are going to go nuts and everything's going to happen. Well, some people listened, some people didn't. Anyways, these rates rose and rose and rose and rose. And what you saw was even when these rates were at 6 and 7%, some of the buyers started pulling back, some of them. And here's what I want you to know. If you're paying attention, pay attention right now. Ready? For every 1%, of interest rate rises or falls, about 5 million buyers jump back into the market or out of the market. Okay? For every 1%. I want to show you who are all these people who are buying houses. Because as you're going to see right now, there's a huge shift that's about to happen in the market. Okay? Let's go back to this. Here's the shift. You can see it right now. Why? Because we're looking at inflation and the Federal Reserve's looking at it saying, you know what? I think we're getting inflation a little bit under control here. And as they're doing that, they're starting to see mortgage interest rates drop. You look at that right there. And projections are that we may even see some interest rates drop well below into the 5s and even under. Well, let me show you what that looks like and why people started to pull back just a little bit last year. If you wanted to buy a $400,000 house and you had a 5% down payment, yes, that's possible. You can buy houses down with like literally 0% down if you wanted to. But let's say it was 5%, you had 38 grand in the bank that you're going to put down. Now, granted, that doesn't include some closing costs and everything else. But let's say that was the case and you had an interest rate of 7%. That means that you have a monthly mortgage payment. Obviously, there's other stuff here, guys, right? Based on qualifications, don't take this. I'm not quoting you here. But if you had an eight grand in taxes a year, et cetera, homeowners insurance, you have a payment roughly around $3,500 a month. Well, what happens if we take that interest rate and we drop it down to 5%? Well, a couple of things. Nothing stands on its own. We just save for ourselves around $500 a month or $6,000, dollars a year in payment, which is I'm not discounting any of that. But what we also did was we brought more buyers into the market as soon as we did that. You see, that ended up in this scenario where we have so many buyers going after so few houses that I just showed you. And now all of a sudden that causes the prices to rise again. So if you are thinking about buying a house in 2024, if you're thinking about selling a house in 2024, if you are a seller and you now become a buyer, please keep this in mind. The lower the interest rates go, the more buyers jump in. And I'm going to show you where they're coming from. Once again, let me say that. The lower the interest rates drop, the more buyers jump into the market, the higher the prices go. So right now may be an interesting time for you to jump into the market if you've considered buying, or you may want to wait until more buyers jump in. So when would you wait? How long would that go? Well, there's a lot of people who are much smarter than me. What I would say for you is this. Right now, there are mortgage rates that are out there that you'd be shocked at how low you can get an interest rate. If you want to see what a 3-2-1 buy down option is, this is something that is very interesting. I've got an easy explainer video that in 10 minutes or less is going to show you exactly what you can afford, whether the monthly payments the interest rates at 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%. I'm telling you, this will change your world if you have never seen this before. And I'm shocked, having been in the real estate industry for a decade, and this gets talked about every single day for real estate agents. There are realtors out there that don't know about these programs. There are home buyers who are getting interest rates up in the 7%, 8% range, and they could be getting interest rates at far lower. I'm telling you, if you don't know, you're going to want to watch that video below. So I'll put that here in one of the links. The next thing that you want to look at is, hey, you could spend your time looking at, mortgage daily news like me and be a total geek. And you're looking at the 10-year treasury notes and all these other things. I watch this stuff all day, and we're talking about these cool, nice, positive trends or whatever it is that could lower mortgage rates. Everyone's excited about that. Or you could hook up and connect with people who are watching this stuff for you every single day. Okay, so I got some great guys in the mortgage industry. James is one of them. He posted this the other day. I got a couple of great guys out there. Danielle, she's another fantastic lender. Shant, he's another amazing lender who we work with. They're going to be watching these rates. Now, here is the Fed's predictions, or some people's predictions on when the Fed's going to cut rates again. Okay, when these big rates are going to cut. Now, you can use these cool loan programs that are out there that'll adjust on your interest rate. But in case you wanted to wait, or if you're a seller, you wanted to see some of the best times to list your home, Remember, bringing that 1% down in the interest rates can likely mean that more buyers are going to hit the market. Okay. Look at the percentage chances that the Fed is going to make adjustments to the rates. Here's this one, 38% of a 50% basis point cut. That means like 1%, half of 1%, 78% chance of at least a 50% basis point cut. Here's another 93% chance. Why? Because what they're looking at is the chances based upon inflation for them to start to cut the rates. And when those rates are lower, my friends, when the rates are lower, what did I say before? More buyers come into the market. So while the number one sentiment of 2023 is still present on people's minds, I don't want to overpay for a house and I don't want to overpay for my mortgage. These two are tied together. As your interest rates drop, your housing prices rise. As your housing prices rise and they're up, some buyers are pulling back. Why? Because interest rates may have dropped. Okay. So you're on that balance right now. Here's what you can do right now. I'm telling you, if you're smart, pay attention, watch this. Jump in and take a look at what's happening in the market, which is driven almost 50% or more by millennials. Now, this is a cool graph. I've shown this before. This is data that's from 2020, so it's a little bit old here. About 4 years, we've got a lag. So some of these data, it pushes a little bit. But as you can see, here's the market segment of every single population a demographic. Okay, here's the greatest generation at 1.75 million people. And the silent generation, people born between 1929 and 1946. We got about another 23 million people there. Baby boomers, for whatever reason, I assume that there's like 150 million, baby boomers out there. No, in fact, the largest, here's the greatest generation. The biggest one we've got is Gen Z and millennials that have huge population, 86 million, 82 million. Those are your buyers right now. So if you're a baby boomer and you're hanging out there, you're like, hey, honey, I think we're thinking about selling our house. Who's going to buy your house? I'll tell you who's going to buy your house. It's going to be a Gen Z or a millennial, and they're flocking to the market. Now, why are they doing that? Well, we've been cooped up and we're tired of eating avocado toast and we want to settle down and we want to have a family. Okay. Define that word however you want, but it doesn't matter. Look at this. These are by millions. 4.8 million people here in this year was born. 4.8 million, 4.76 million, all of these are ready to buy houses here. Look at this. And let's pretend only 10% of them were ready to buy a house. 8 million. Let's pretend 8 million people were ready to buy a house. Okay. Well, what happens if you don't have a whole lot of houses out there for sale? Let's pop back over here. What if you don't have a whole lot of houses for sale? Boom. Housing prices start to escalate like crazy. This is every year. So if you've been paying attention to my market updates over the last several years, look, I always encourage, if you're in the fall time and you're in the winter time, you took advantage of it, great. You probably bought a house a little bit cheaper. But oh, by the way, good news, bad news is, as these prices are going to start to pick up again into the spring months, get ready. Here's the good news. The good news is your interest rates are probably going to be lower. The tough news is you are likely going to be competing against other buyers in the market. Just get used to it right out the gate before you get in there. You want to get with a loan professional and a real estate professional who's going to guide you on exactly. If you need those top 14 ways to win an offer, I'm happy to send that to you. Go ahead, either comment or reply below. Happy to send that to you. All right, let's keep going. I want to show you one other cool thing that's happening in the industry. It's going to save you a lot of money, especially if you're going to buy or you're going to sell. Okay. So this huge population segment is going to get into the market. They've already been in the market. They cooled a little bit as interest rates rose, but now they're coming back in. Every 1%, you got another 5 million buyers jumping into the market here. All right, so what's happening every single month? Let's look at it. Here's the new listings that have happened in the last 7 days in Connecticut. 7 days, 835 homes. 835 homes, new ones came to the market. Now, 262 of the existing inventory dropped their prices. Why? Why, my friends? Well, a lot of those guys were pricing off of homes that were sold up here. So they were in September, October, November, and they were thinking, you know what? Let's look back and price as if we're back here in July. And when they did that, they ended up not getting buyers because they timed it at the same point that interest rates were way up here. But now that the interest rates are cooling, that's good news, but they've sat on the market for a little while. And so buyers are rather going to these new listings than they are to the old ones. And so the only way that they can get attractive is they drop their price. So that's happening. There's a bunch of houses, though, that are going under contract. Check this out. Ready? 835 homes came to the market, but also in that 7-day time frame, almost 400 went under contract with this one status, which means you can keep showing it. And the other one went under contract with another status, which you can't keep showing the home. They're done. Let's chalk this up to 900 homes, 950. That means that we're actually selling more homes than we are bringing new ones to the market, which completely validates this homes for sale that we are still, boom, losing inventory. We have more buyers than we have sellers. Now I'm going to show you one more chart here. I love the data because if you love data, you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family. And if you don't like the data and it's like, you know what, I just don't want to deal with that stuff. Tell me what to do. Fine. We're happy to guide you through the process, but we want to have you as the most educated buyers in the market if you're going to work with my team. Okay. So here's all these different market segments in between 300 grand and 400 grand in any of the towns in Connecticut, broken down by $10,000 increments for the last 90 days. In the last 90 days, you're seeing about 7 to 9 showings basically for every listing in that price point. And I can move this. I can search it by town. You know, we could look at the $500,000 to $600,000 segment, and we can look at this, and you'll see it's probably just around the same 6 to 7, maybe 8 buyers per house are looking. Here's what you're going to start to see as you get into the next market. As these interest rates start to drop, and as the spring market moves in, you're going to start to see those showings go from 6, 7, 8 per listing, 10, 20, 40, 80 showings. That's what's going to start to happen. Why? Because you're bringing millions of buyers back to the market. I want to be very clear. If you're in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island just hit as one of the top 5 housing markets. And West Hartford, East Hartford, Connecticut, those were in the top 5 markets in the country. People want to move to New England. Now you say, no, it's the Sun Belt. Yes, the Sun Belt is certainly moving. That's certainly happening. We understand that. But people are moving from other places of the country. They want great school systems. They want to live in areas where they have amazing communities. We're seeing a huge exodus from other areas of the country and coming to Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. So if that's you, if you're thinking about buying a house in the New England area in 2024, be advised. Right now is a fantastic opportunity. People are still dropping their prices on a few homes that were not priced correctly. You have an opportunity. Your interest rate may be a little bit higher and maybe lower into the later part of the year. You can take advantage of awesome loan programs like our 3-2-1 buy down, which will literally lower your interest rates up to 3 percentage points. Now, again, this is all based on qualification, so I don't want to quote, I'm not quoting you here, but these are programs that a lot of our buyers are taking advantage of. There are programs out there that will allow you to buy a house with $0 down. I know very good friends of mine who have done this. If that's you, you're going to want to start right now. Start that process now, because as soon as those interest rates drop, boom, prices are going to go even higher with new people getting out into the market, new buyers getting interested. Now, if you're looking to sell, should I sell before the spring market? Should I sell during the spring market? Should I sell during the summer? I don't want to miss this. If it's going to be awesome into the fall. Guys, if you're selling this year, I'm going to just blanket statement. It's awesome. It's going to be an awesome year in order to sell. The challenge is how you buy. And that's what you really want to dive into with strategy. That's where we come in with our 14 ways in order to sell, 14 ways in order to buy. Sounds like a lot of steps. People are like, I gave you 3 steps. Okay, great. Put a for sale sign on the front lawn, put a lockbox on the door and pray. Fine, you can do their 3 steps. I got 14 ways in which we're going to get you the highest price for your house and negotiate how you're going to get to the next place. If this is helpful for you, if you found this helpful, please reach out. Do not hesitate. This might be an educational video for you to build trust in the process and know when. What I do want to advise you is this. It's great when you think that you can time the market to jump into it. What I want to advise you is not to. I myself have gotten myself into scenarios where I think I can time a stock, or I think I can time the market. A great investor once said that more money has been lost in trying to time the market than actually in the market. Now, funny, if you want to believe that, go ahead and believe that. But what I would say is true is this. If you're not in this every day, watching every day, at least get an advisor on your side who is watching this every day. If you're seeing this video, it's probably because someone on Brook Team has shared this with you and cares about you and wants to see you win this year in 2024 and beyond. All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If this has been helpful, please, like I said, comment below, reply to the email, let us know how we can help you in this coming year. Thanks again for watching.